Awesome. Yeah, recording now. So, start with a few questions. You're coming to Australia,
All right.
actually. You're coming to Australia this week. Are you excited about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually leave my time, which is Monday night, tomorrow night. So I'm kind of gearing up, getting everything ready, and ready to head out that way.
Awesome. Yeah, and you're actually wrestling with a company called the New Japan Pro Wrestling Company, and I know this is like a massive deal in Japan. It's huge. It's been around since like the 70s,
hmm
but it's a bit lesser known for Western countries. But can you tell us a bit about like what they're like to wrestle with? I know this is kind of like a promotional tour, so we can learn a bit more about them.
Yeah, absolutely. New Japan Pro Wrestling, like you said, it's been around for nearly 50 years now. And predominantly just in Japan, but in the last few years, with the expansion of the internet and the global reach that the internet provides, New Japan Pro Wrestling as a whole is starting to truly become a global company. I've been with the company since 2011, and I've been able to watch it. It was a big company when I arrived in 2011, but what it has become over the last, 7 years since I've been a part of the company, is just truly amazing to see what it's doing, and like they have their New Japan World, which is basically the same thing as the WWE Network, and it's something that anybody around the world can go on and purchase. And it's basically the same thing. You get a monthly subscription. You can watch all the live shows if you want to get up that early, depending on where you're at in the world. Or when the shows are done, they're archived, and so anybody can watch them at any time. There's more and more English commentary for our English-speaking fans around the world. Everything that they're doing is helping their company reach so far beyond just Japan. It's really cool. They've reached out into the UK, and they're doing really good over there, working with some companies. They've always had a good relationship with CMLL down in Mexico. And now what they're starting to do with like Ring of Honor and how they're starting to branch themselves out into the United States. We did 2 shows last July that sold out within minutes. We have a show coming up in March in Los Angeles. It's a 5,000-seat arena, and it sold out in 20 minutes. And they just announced that Rey Mysterio and Jushin Liger are going to have a match at that show in L.A. And this tour that we're doing in Australia is our real first attempt, into the Australian market. And I think it's something that is really exciting, not only for us and the fans, but for the wrestling world as a whole, because, again, WWE for the longest time has truly been the only worldwide company, a company that goes to its fans around the world. Now, New Japan Pro Wrestling is starting to do that same thing. They're coming to the places where the wrestling fans are. So not only can the wrestling fans have access to the internet to watch it on TV or their iPads, the tablets and stuff like that, now New Japan is coming to the fans. So now we're coming down to Australia, and we're excited, and we're hoping the fans are excited, and it's going to be truly a cool thing.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. What do the guys like to wrestle with? Are they, cool guys that you get along with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that I don't know how to explain wrestling. Are you a wrestling fan yourself?
Oh, I grew up, watching WWE all the time, so yeah, big fan.
Okay, well, New Japan Pro Wrestling is a company, traditionally Japanese wrestling is called strong style wrestling, and it's more focused on the competitive nature of professional wrestling. Our storylines are really based around who are the champions, who are the challengers, and that's where our stories are going. There's not a whole lot of stuff in between. You don't have the love stories, and you don't have the, you were my best friend and now we're not friends anymore, so that's the reason we're going to fight. You don't see that very often in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's predominantly about factions fighting factions and champions fighting challengers and things like that. So it's very much more focused around the sport of professional wrestling than the stories of professional wrestling. And getting to work with the guys, the question you ask is, are they cool? Do I get along with them? Yeah, absolutely. But you've got a locker room full of guys that are very competitive in nature. Everybody's trying to prove themselves as the number one guy in the company at all times. So you're going to have guys that are going to bump heads and stuff at once in a while. But for the most part, because everybody is working together to try to make New Japan Pro Wrestling the best company in the world, everybody gets along for the most part, especially when they know that the end goal is to get everybody a chance to be something special in the business.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a shoot match or a match that's gone wrong, or someone that didn't want to tap when it was their turn to tap?
No, I've held myself as a professional, and pretty much everybody that I've ever worked with in this business from every level. I've worked with WWE, I worked with TNA, now I'm with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and there's a very high quality of guys that have been in the business at the level that I've been lucky enough to be a part of. And, everybody, again, is working towards that end goal. And so I've never run across a situation where somebody was just blatantly against what we were supposed to do. And, on a physical level, I'm usually bigger than most of the guys, and guys usually don't want to test that as well.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what's kind of your workout routine? You must be hitting the gym like 6 times a week.
Yeah, I try to do that as much as I can. I try to focus on one body part each and every time that I go to the gym in efforts to maximize the training regimen around that, whether I'm doing chest or legs or back or buys or, arms and shoulders and stuff of that nature, trying to focus on each one of those to give each one of those its best workout and best chance to improve, grow, strengthen, and heal itself, depending on the situation. Because we're always and constantly working in and around injuries, because it's a very physical business. Some people don't truly understand the physical nature that is professional wrestling, but, I'm 6'6", over 2 meters, and if I pick somebody up over my head and throw them on the ground, it's very real in that aspect. So guys have to work around injuries all the time. I myself have I had to have a surgery this time last year, so it's my 1-year anniversary from a surgery I had to have that took me out of the business for about 7 months. So we're always working around trying to both improve our bodies on a physical nature and protect our bodies from a physical side.
Yeah, for sure. I was just about to ask you about injuries. Do you ever worry that, the next injury could be the one that puts you out of business?
You always are aware of it, but you never worry about it. And if you worry about it, that's when you probably are going to get injured the most, because it is a very physical business. There's a chance to get injured at any moment, at any time. We're putting our lives and our livelihoods in the hands of other people. And if you go into it worried, if you go into it timid, if you go into it thinking you're going to get hurt, that's probably when you will get hurt. You just have to go at it with reckless abandonment, just trust and have faith and do what you're going to do and, hope for the best and hope that you prepared your body in the best physical way that you can come out of it as safe as possible, like I said. But if you go into it timid, man, there's a good chance you're going to get hurt. So you got to go 100% balls to the wall every time you go out there.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of, really classic wrestlers, and they're still at it, and some of them are over 60 years of age. Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, I think Scott Steiner's still going. He's not quite that old, but what do you think about those guys that, wrestle way past their prime? Do you have respect for them, just, having all guns blazing, going that far, or do you think they should maybe, slow down a little?
Well, I think that's the beauty of professional wrestling. You bring up guys like Hulk Hogan or Scott Steiner or any of the guys that have kind of been around this business for a really long time. They created characters and personalities that the fans actually fell in love with. Hacksaw Jim Duggan is a guy that is, you have to have nothing but respect for him because, he battled and beat cancer. He's at least in his mid-60s. I'm not sure exactly how old Hacksaw is. But every time he goes to a show, he does more than just, raise the 2x4 and yell out, ho. He goes out there and he performs. And so you have to have some respect for that. And the fans love it. I don't think the fans expect those guys to go out and have 5-star matches. They want to see and kind of relive their childhood of who they saw back in the day. They want to relive who they were when Hacksaw and Hogan and the Sheik and all those guys were the big names of the business. So I think you have to respect it. And as a guy who's myself is a little bit older in age and, I'm approaching some of that maybe been in the business too long aspect, it gives me hope that I can continue on doing what I love doing and enjoying what I enjoy doing. And at whatever highest level that I can provide and still kind of make a living at it and hopefully be entertaining to the fans at somewhere in some level.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with music as well. You could get some new hotshot session musicians to replace, Tony Iommi and Black Sabbath, but people want the original guys. It's, not the same. And I think it's, it's kind of a similarity.
Yep.
Yeah. I also heard you're a bit of a music fan as well. What what do you listen to in the car when you're driving around?
I enjoy pretty much any kind of music that's on that's actually good. I think there's a lot of music that maybe not so good. I'm predominantly like hard rock and heavy metal and stuff like that. So my old school classics, obviously the Metallicas, I think they transcend time with their metal music from the 70s to now. Korn was a group that I really got into for a while. I know they haven't really produced anything lately that's been, kind of popular in any sense, but I still love going back and kind of listening to everything that they've done. Five Finger Death Punch, I think, is one of my favorite bands now that's still kind of current and kicking some ass and producing some really high quality music. So those are three bands that I really kind of pay attention to. I say I have a little bit of everything from Nicki Minaj to, like I said, from Nicki Minaj to Five Finger Death Punch to some Prince on my iPhone and stuff like that. I have a little bit of everything. I enjoy a little bit of anything and everything.
Awesome stuff. I got to ask you, who were the wrestlers that inspired you to get into the business?
Well, I think there's been a lot, obviously, but I think Sting was the first guy that I just, when I became a fan of the business, WCW back in the day, he was the guy that I kind of latched onto as a fan. I was really big into the movie The Crow. He adopted that persona. And so when I started watching it, and that's kind of the direction he took, it was something that really captured my attention. And then obviously with my size, guys like Undertaker, and the persona that he created and still does today, Jeff Hardy, the inanimate, I can't even say it right now, I'm sorry. The charisma that he produced, in the business and professional wrestling. So all these different guys in different ways have different influences, to some of the guys that still exist today, the AJ Styles and the Kevin Owens and the Bobby Roodes and guys that I've actually, had the pleasure of being in the ring with, the Shinsuke Nakamura's, the Tanahashis, the Okadas, which are going to be on this tour with us in New Japan Pro Wrestling, coming up here, to the Kenny Omegas that are coming on, to my partner on the tour, which is Suzuki Minoru, who's been around the business a long time himself. There's just so many influences in so many different ways from so many different eras. It's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been really great talking with you today. I wish I could come to the show, but there's no Brisbane show. It's just Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth, and the first show kicks off in Adelaide on Friday, the 16th. So it should be a great tour. I heard it sold a lot of tickets, so I'm sure people are going to love it.
Yeah, I'll be stopping in Brisbane on my way home. My aunt actually lives out there, so I'm going to get to see her for about 2 or 3 hours before I have to head back to the States.
Oh, cool, man. Well, I hope you love it. I think it's a great city. So, yeah, enjoy your time.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.